Furry Conventions are back in the US and... oh yeah. For months, we were promised the end of COVID-19 as vaccinated started slowly becoming more and more available for everyone, and for a while that looked to be the case. Millions of people were getting vaccinated every day, and it seemed to work. Throughout May to July, cases were going down, and it seemed like there would be a sense of normalcy again. And then a new variant came along which led to a spike of cases for the unvaccinated. How were we able to organize a mass gathering of over 1,000 people without it turning to a super spreader event? With all this being considered, let's talk about Furrydelphia 2021 and my thoughts and experiences about it. Before we can talk about the convention, we need to go back, like way back. For months leading up to the convention, it was pretty uncertain whether there would even be a con at all, let alone that it ended up happening like this. As Furrydelphia con chair Drain would put it,
it was not known what this year was going to look like. It started off with pretty much no convention at all, upgraded to a convention where we needed to cap at like 300 people, then upgraded to a convention where we had no cap, but we had to socially distance and enforce masks.
Keep in mind this was back in late 2020, early 2021, where cases were at their highest and it looked very bad across the country. However, things started to change for the better.
Suddenly, everyone started getting vaccinated, numbers were going down, and the state's like, yep, no social distancing, no occupancies, no masks, none of it, you're all good, everything's fine. And we're like, great!
With that out of the way, June 4th, pre-reg opened. Got all of my information, signed up immediately, and got the hotel situation figured out, which was a bit of a mess for me. Unfortunately, I was not the only one who was having a mess. As the convention date started to come closer and closer, it seems that everything would come back to normal as cases were low and vaccinations seemed to work. And as we all know, the Delta variant showed up and decided to dash everyone's expectations.
It turned into Furrydelphia with no attendance cap and no social distancing, but with masks. And you know what? I'll take it. I'm pretty pleased that everyone else was pretty happy to take it as well.
And with that, I was pretty relieved that it was even happening at all, considering the state of the world at this time. Now you know what we're dealing with for the convention, let's get to August 12th where things really got started. After waiting what it felt like forever, I was ready to have a lot of fun and spend all my money at the dealer's den. If you've ever been to a furry convention before, furry or not, you know that feeling. Anyways, catching a ride all the way down to Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia into the Valley Forge Casino Resort, we got our hotel room keys and headed straight towards the registration line where we waited. The line was long, but it moved pretty quickly, and before I knew it, I had my registration badge and all the goodies that came along with it. Because I like spending money, I got the sponsor package, and this is what I got. Pretty cool, huh? Now, being in a line where social distancing wasn't possible might have sounded like a bad idea a year ago, but with nearly everyone having been vaccinated and wearing a mask, it was a lot safer and more bearable. There wasn't really much to do since it was a Thursday after all, so we went to sleep and waited until Friday. The actual con kicks off with the opening ceremony where they explain what happened in 2020 and what's happening for 2021.
As you can tell, we are all a little bit salty about this particular thing.
After that, we were out and free to hug all the fursuiters we want after asking, of course. As for me, well, my Twitter feed sums it up pretty nicely, but if you want to know more, here are some highlights. One of the best things at the con was the dealer's den, and there were many vendors that were selling great furry merch. In fact, I bought several and like to show them off. Wait. As you can see, you can get a lot of cool stuff at the dealer stands and artist alleys at conventions. And no, I did not buy that computer from the dealer stand. Do not ask me about that. And I only spent $200 on all this stuff. Please don't look at my bank account. When it comes to the spread of COVID-19, the risk was higher for vendors as they had to sit in one spot for hours on end, interacting with many different people while handling money and products. As Strain put it,
I'm going to ask everybody to please do your best to avoid crowding up in the dealer's den. I will say we've gotten a bit of feedback from vendors who are nervous about being here, but they're here regardless.
I really have to applaud the vendors who came to the con to give us great stuff despite the many risks associated with it. You deserve every penny that I and everyone else spent at your table. As for everything else, there was plenty to do, even without a fursuit photo or a parade.
Unfortunately, there's a deadly pandemic which kind of restricts us from being able to crowd huge amounts of people into the lobby, especially because we're not requiring fursuiters to wear masks under their fursuit head.
There were panels, events, and parties throughout the weekend, and I attended many of them when I was not out taking pictures and volunteering. Speaking of volunteering, the con was quite understaffed due to many different factors, so it was even more impressive they were able to pull all this off effectively on top of the virus.
Like I said, we're pretty understaffed at this point.
If you're going to a con and you could spare a few hours to volunteer, do it. The con staff will really appreciate it.
Even if you are just willing to sit your butt in a chair for like an hour or two and just help make sure that the only people who are coming in are masked and badged, it would be very helpful.
Overall, the entire convention felt like a long overdue break for many of us that were stuck inside of our houses for the past 18 months. After all that was done, we were back to regular life. What were the impacts of the con and overall health to everyone that came? Well, truthfully, not much. Out of the 1,544 attendees that came to the event, there was not one single confirmed case as far as I know. In fact, nearly all the tests that are publicly available came back negative. Here's mine. When some got sick, it was not because of COVID-19 alone. For more proof that vaccinations and masks work, let's take a Lollapalooza, 4-day music festival held in Chicago that sees hundreds of thousands of people a year. They required vaccines or negative tests and made unvaccinated people wear masks. Out of the 385,000 people who attended, roughly 200 got infected from COVID-19. That might sound bad, but that roughly equals one person for every 1,925 people. Considering that most conventions are enacting even tougher policies to limit the spread of the virus, with many requiring everyone, even fursuiters, to be masked, I believe it's a good thing for everyone involved in regards to public safety. With Furrydelphia being a massive success in terms of money raised for charity, attendance numbers, and the overall lack of cases from the event, it is safe to say that if done properly and with the correct safety protocols, conventions can happen again without much of a problem. That being said, not every convention was able to pull off what Furrydelphia did to this degree. I'm looking at you, Florida. If you're attending any convention, furry or not, please get tested before and after, and definitely make sure to get vaccinated if you can. If you want to know what happened at Furrydelphia in 2021, check out this playlist over here.